Hi everyone. I'm sorry. This is so ridiculous. This is so, and done without any sense of irony whatsoever, that I can't honestly get through this without laughing at it. I can't do it with a straight face, because this week the BBC has launched a huge new international anti-disinformation initiative to fight fake news. This is what they said on the Twitters, on the Twitter box. The BBC is launching a series today on disinformation and fake news, with documentaries, reports and features on TV, radio and online. There are conferences in Delhi and Nairobi, and new research from India and Africa into why people spread fake news. And in this explainer, our business correspondent went back to basics to ask, what is fake news and how can you spot it? That's like Hitler coming back and doing a documentary on what is a Nazi and how can you spot them. Or Tony Blair getting together with George Bush Jr. and saying, what is a war criminal and how can you spot them? Honestly hilarious. What about that time a couple of months ago, BBC, where you interviewed those two people on the left there, who were apparently Jewish people living in the UK, who were just so worried about the anti-Semitism and so scared of the anti-Semitic rhetoric in the public that they were moving to Israel. Forgot to mention that those two people were members of the Likud Heret UK party, a far-right Zionist organisation that idealises the murderous leader of the Zionist Irgun terror gang, Menachem Begin. That was in the Dorset Eye. Great little independent news outlet, that is, if you're down in the southwest. Really do cover some fantastic news, unlike the BBC. What about almost every single article that they've ever done on Julian Assange and WikiLeaks? Certainly since I've started doing this in February. I can remember one instance where I read an article from the BBC and I was shocked. I read an article in the BBC on Julian Assange and I was absolutely shocked because there were no inaccuracies in it. It was the first one. This one, when Julian Assange was given draconian conditions to get his communications back, I covered this in a video. It said this: on the subject of cleanliness, however, Mr. Assange tweeted earlier this year, save water, don't shower. Trying to say that he's filthy. The account that tweeted that out wasn't Assange. It was a Julian Assange parody account. I mean, they should know, as I said at the time, they should know what Julian Assange's confirmed Twitter account is. They publish enough bullshit about him. They had to retract that. Lies, fake news. In that same article, they said he's got to take better care of his cat. I did a translation from Spanish to English. I showed it everybody, showed other people's translations of Spanish to English. Nowhere in it did it say he's got to take better care of his cat. It was just a list of draconian things that included his cat. But they put taking better care of his cat to try and make people think that he's mistreating this little buddy of his. Fake news, that is, BBC. Fake news. And you know what? On Julian Assange, there was another. I did it in a live stream. I've just remembered this. I should have maybe got the clip together. I'll put a link up there to it. They did a documentary on Julian Assange, a little 5-minute thing for Newsnight a few months back as well. And in it, they showed the video, collateral damage, of the US Apache gunship shooting down those two Reuters journalists. Now, that's why the Americans want Assange, because he was the one who actually showed that to the public. And the BBC guy who did this documentary said, quote, the genius behind the hack, Julian Assange. There was no hack. The source was the US military, and it was given Julian Assange by Chelsea Manning, who was tortured and imprisoned for it. But they tell the public it was a hack that got that video. Fake news and lies. What about this one? A few months ago. This is the OPCW report of the Duma attack, and obviously there were so many inaccuracies with the Duma attack in BBC. I just haven't got time to to go through them all. I'll be here at about 5 in the morning if I go through them all, just on Duma alone. But this is the OPCW report a month or so later, where it came out and said, specifically, underlined in red here, no organophosphorus, nerve agents or their degradation products were detected. Various chlorinated organic chemicals were found in samples from 2 sites for which there is a full chain of custody. The reason they did that is chlorine can be found everywhere. It's in refrigerators, it's in fire extinguishers, it's everywhere. You've got to check it to see. And there in red, underlined, the FFM, the fact-finding mission, cannot confidently determine whether or not a specific chemical was used as a weapon. BBC spin on that. Syria attack was chlorine gas. The deadly attack in Duma in late April left dozens and caused an international outcry. Total fake news. Total fake news. And that's without all the fake news with regards to their headlines and their bullshit about Israel. Never actually really telling the truth about Israel and Palestine. They had to change that headline, not for the first time. They've had to change several headlines this year that I've covered. They've had to change it because there was an outcry. Because they were publishing fake news. It gets worse. What about this instance, BBC? I'm sure many of my viewers will have seen this. This is from a documentary they did called Saving Syria's Children. There's a guy called Robert Stewart who did what has been described as a surgical deconstruction of this fake video that they published back in 2013. You can't even find it on YouTube now. The BBC have pulled it from basically everywhere because it was fake. It was obviously fake. I'll leave a link to the presentation that Robert Stewart did earlier this year at I've forgotten what it was. It might have been the Stop War sort of demonstration that he did with Vanessa Beeley. But I'll leave a link to his presentation on this video down below. But here I'm just going to show 10-12 seconds of that Saving Syria's Children video that I got from Robert Stewart's presentation. Just listen to it. These are meant to be burn victims, okay? All these people are meant to be burn victims. Just listen to it without the sound off, make up your own mind, and just keep asking yourself, is this real? Is that real, do you think? Or is that actors? What do you think? What do you reckon? This is just, honestly, it's one of the funniest things, but it's so sad at the same time. And they, you know, I wouldn't make a video of it if it wasn't important, but the BBC are our state broadcaster. They're meant to be better than this. And they're the people who are telling us how to spot fake news. And what was it they said? What is fake news? What is fake news and how can you spot it? And launching this campaign against fake news. I suggest this of the BBC. If you really want to fight against fake news and stop it, stop frigging publishing it, idiots. If you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and click the bell below so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. Independent voices like mine, I'm sure you're aware by now, are being censored across all social media platforms, so please like and comment on the videos. That really does help the channel out, and share the videos wherever you can to grow the audience. If you can, please support me on Patreon. You can do it for as little as $1 a month. I cannot do this without your help. I rely on your donations. Thanks very much for your support. It really is appreciated. Until next time, peace and take care.